So, after a day of fun and frivolity on a Thursday, well, almost fun and frivolity anyways, it was a day off. So, it was better than not being at work, put it that way. But, it's weird, you know, Alex Galchenyuk signs this contract, 3 years, $4.9 million a year, and it seems like a lot of Habs fans are excited about Drouin, and they're saying, well, Galchenyuk has to get his game together. I hate to tell you guys this, but I projected out how many points they would have scored if they both played 82 games. They both would have scored 59 points. You know, and yeah, Galchenyuk's, what, a year older? I think he's a year older. He's 23. He is 23 years of age, and Drouin is 22. They've both been challenged by coaches' management for indifferent play. But it's funny because, and this is something that happens a lot in hockey. I've seen it a lot with Canucks fans over the years. Part of the reason why I'm wearing my first jersey ever. This is the first jersey I ever bought back in, I want to say 1990, maybe 91. Anyways, there's a perception that players on other teams are really good and players you have and you see every game are crap. Jonathan Drouin had a good year for Tampa. Galchenyuk had challenges. Drouin had challenges too. It's not that long ago that Drouin was in the American Hockey League and complaining and upset, and there was a perception that Tampa wanted to get rid of him, but they were asking too much and no team would meet that price. And it just feels familiar with Galchenyuk. I'm of the mind that now that he's signed to a 3-year contract, any thought of trading Galchenyuk is gone from Montreal. Galchenyuk will be a Montreal Canadian at least for this season. Because the other problem is this, when Radulov signed in Dallas, there was no offensive option for Montreal. I've got the prospects book here. The 2016 one, of course, had William Nylander on the front. They never did get Austin Matthews on the front one because he went straight to the NHL. But if you look at top prospects for Montreal, and you're looking for offensive guys, now Sergachev's here at 9 on the overall NHL prospects list. He's gone. Julesen's there. Bergevin sees Julesen as a future number 4 D-man. Not inspiring. Michael McCarron, hardworking, 6'6", huge, not an offensive player. Scherbak, his overall rating was 98 this year. So out of all of the prospects in the NHL, they rated him 98th overall. It doesn't necessarily mean anything. I can get into why they're prospects you have to take with a grain of salt. But Scherbak has probably fallen behind some other guys in his development. They'll give him a shot this year because they don't have a whole lot of options. Jacob Delarose had 5 goals in the first 40 games this year for St. John's in the American League. Of course, you got Fucale, who played well when he played for Team Canada, but he had a season to forget in the minors. There's Houdon, who, of course, a lot of Montreal Canadian fans like. But I don't know that he's going to break through for Montreal. I mean, he's 5'10", 195. And Montreal is a small lineup to start with. Then they get down to Michael McNiven, who's a goaltender. Will Bitton, a center, 18 years of age, 5'10". So, and in the draft this year, they didn't get anybody who's going to be in the lineup this year. You don't have a choice but to keep Galchenyuk. And when I kept reading Montreal fans with comments, both on this channel and elsewhere, what can we get for Galchenyuk? We need to get rid of Galchenyuk. And then at the same time, some of those same people were like, oh, I'm so excited we got Drouin. You know, Galchenyuk's never going to be a center. The same's been said at times about Drouin. That Drouin struggles at center and should be on the right wing. So I find it strange because to me the two players are damn near the same. Their stats almost completely line up for this past season, for 16-17. Prior to that, Galchenyuk's beaten the hell out of Drouin. Yes, he's a year older. So, you know, it's kind of apples to oranges, but not really. There's a 1-year difference. Galchenyuk's got more time in the NHL than Drouin. Drouin's only played 164 NHL games over 3 seasons. It doesn't give Montreal a guarantee of a top-flight offense either. This is where I'm going to probably upset some Montreal fans when we get into season previews. And I look at Montreal's offense and I go, I don't know, guys. Montreal's going to have problems scoring goals again. But that's probably going to upset some people. Drouin should help. The problem is they lost Radulov. They don't have a prospect in the system to replace Radulov. So essentially, Drouin replaces Radulov, which is fine, but they lose Sergachev off the point. And Sergachev certainly was going to come in and play this year. And Sergachev would have helped to mitigate the loss of Markov. So now it kind of forces Bergevin to find a way to bring Markov back. Markov's 38. He's not getting younger. So it can only mitigate that for a while. And Juleson does not have the same level of potential as Sergachev does. And it just rolls. So, you know, I'm doing a video now because I was looking through prospect lists and looking over the last 10 years. I've got some Future Watch magazines that I've acquired over the last 10 years. And it's interesting to me how many prospects didn't necessarily turn out, how many overachieved. And it is something I'm going to start looking at over the summer because I get asked for that. But I do not understand Montreal fans that want to get rid of Sergachev. Let me make this clear. I'm not a Montreal fan. That's clear to anybody who's watched my videos for the last year. But I think they'd be insane to trade Galchenyuk. And I have never moved off that spot this summer. What should we trade Galchenyuk for? Nothing. You can't afford to lose Galchenyuk. Galchenyuk's bad season still projects out to 22 goals and 59 points. 59.5, so 60. You can round that up to 60. Drouin, over 82 games, 59 points. So you can't be excited about one and then say the other's a bum, because it doesn't match. It doesn't work. And Claude Julien, for any faults he has, and he has his share of faults as a coach, he will get the most out of them. He will. You can point to Tyler Seguin and say, well, Julien didn't play Seguin enough in his rookie year, and the Bruins treated Seguin badly. I saw it more as the Bruins were trying to bring Seguin along slowly, right or wrong, and Seguin didn't have the patience for it. And he didn't have the maturity for NHL life in Boston. And as soon as he was traded to Dallas, I think it smartened him up. I think it changed his view on things. And maybe Jamie Benn helped him out. There may have been some coaches in Dallas that helped him out. But Julien was not responsible for what happened with Seguin. Not completely. It's all about how a player handles it. And Galchenyuk said all the right things when asked. That he wants to play in Montreal, and he wants to get better, and he wants the team to get better, and he wants to be a part of it. Montreal needs that. Because with Galchenyuk and Drouin up front, if you can get, and I would say Montreal's probably 1 to 2 really good young forwards short of really putting together a solid nucleus that can lead this team for 5 years. I mean, and it's tough because they've got Toronto not that far away with exactly that kind of team. But Freddie Anderson isn't quite in Carey Price territory. Does he have to be? And that's another argument for another time. Do you need a premier goaltender to win in the Stanley Cup playoffs? The part that I find weird about that is people will say you don't need a premier goalie to win in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and then in the next breath say Matt Murray and Marc-Andre Fleury both deserve Conn Smythe ahead of Crosby. It doesn't work both ways. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. To me, Galchenyuk should remain a Hab at least for this season. And the argument of Drouin is great, so we can get rid of Galchenyuk. I just don't understand it. I think, again, it's a case of fans seeing another team's prospect as being fantastic and overanalyzing their own prospect into the ground. Every fan base does it. This is not a Montreal thing. Every fan base does it. I've watched Toronto do it for decades. I've watched Vancouver do it for decades. I watched Edmonton do it too, and Calgary. Any Canadian franchise. I've watched prospects for those teams torn apart by fans, they're bums, and then see a trade thread or wherever on the internet I'm looking, we should go get this guy. And if it's a Canuck, I may say, he's not very good either, or the guy you're dissing is not as good as the guy you're willing to trade out. Just so you know. So let me know what you guys think. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, and thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys again soon.